How do you make Sparklines update with new Excel data? Imagine having a quick visual summary of your data that updates automatically as you add more information. That's what Sparklines can do for your spreadsheets. They are tiny charts inside cells that show trends or patterns at a glance. But what if your data keeps changing or growing? How do you keep those Sparklines in sync without manually adjusting them every time? Today, we'll explore simple ways to make your Sparklines update automatically when new data is added in Excel. The easiest way is to turn your data into an Excel table. When you do this, the table expands as you add new rows or columns. If your Sparklines are linked to a column inside this table, they will automatically include the new data. This is because Excel tables are designed to grow with your data. To do this, select your data range, go to the Insert tab, and click on Table. Make sure the My Table Has Headers box is checked if you have headers. Once your data is in a table, create Sparklines by selecting the cells where you want them, then go to the Insert tab, choose your Sparkline type, and select the data range inside the table. As you add new data to the table, your Sparklines will update instantly. If you prefer not to use tables, you can set up dynamic named ranges with formulas like offset or index. These formulas create ranges that automatically adjust based on the amount of data. For example, you can define a named range that starts at the first data point and extends down as many rows as contain data. Then, when creating Sparklines, you reference this named range instead of a fixed cell range. However, because Sparklines requiring a direct cell range, you might need to update the data source manually or use a macro to refresh it. Another option is to manually update the Sparklines by selecting the Sparkline cell, clicking on the Sparkline Tools Design tab, and choosing Edit Data. Here, you can change the data range to include new data. This method works but can be tedious if your data changes often. For those comfortable with VBA, you can write a macro that detects when new data is added and updates the Sparklines automatically. This is especially useful if you work with pivot tables or complex data sources. The macro can run whenever you open the file or press a button, making updates seamless. Keep in mind that Sparklines linked to pivot tables do not update automatically when the pivot table changes size. You may need to place Sparklines next to the pivot table and use VBA or manual updates to keep them current. Also, if your data contains hidden or empty cells, you can choose options under the Sparkline Tools Design tab to ignore these cells, keeping your visualizations clean. Using an Excel table as your data source is the most straightforward and reliable way to keep Sparklines in sync with your growing data. As you add new entries, the Sparklines will automatically reflect those changes, saving you time and effort. This makes your data visualization process smoother and more dynamic, especially when working with large or frequently updated datasets.